Good evening, everybody. It's Thursday. I feel like I say this every time now. It's Thursday at 6:30. I don't know how many this is now. I think this is 15 webcasts that we've done. But anyway, yeah, it's a beautiful day outside. So thanks for tuning in. If you tuned in live, welcome back. I'm Steve Fox from Border City Financial, and we do this on a weekly basis. And what we're really trying to do is to bring you information, bring you content that is interesting and it's useful to you. Obviously, if it's useless, it better be very entertaining. But today we're hosting Rob Maslanka, and at least I know him as Rob. I think his given name is Robert, but I never call him Robert. So I've known Rob actually for quite a few years. And it's been interesting to me when I get the opportunity to see people sort of beginning to navigate their way through life and, figuring out who I am and what am I going to do and what are my giftings, what am I good at. And Rob is no exception to that rule. And so before we get to any questions, and I've got a few of them, because I often say, I love hosting people who have an expertise that's way out of my expertise. It's something that I'm not familiar with because I learn something every single week, and I don't have a problem displaying my ignorance. I don't mind doing that at all, because if it's something that's not inside of my expertise, I love to learn from others. And today will be no exception to that whatsoever. This is an area that is far, far, far out of my expertise. So I have some good questions, and I'm hoping that as we have people on live, that we will also get some great questions from our audience. And we do have people on live. So what I'd like you to do, Rob, is just take a couple minutes and sort of talk a little bit about how you got to this point, what led you to where you are, and then a little bit about what you're doing and why.
Right. So, I guess it all started when I got into video production, and that was about seven or 8 years ago. I kind of been into film for the vast majority of my life since I was like 13, making videos with little old VHS cameras, things like that. But then I started taking it more seriously about 8 years ago, and I was progressing through it, and filmmaking was always the goal. It was making a pretty image. And then after a while, about 4 years ago, I really started to notice that there's an oversaturation of videographers. There's tons of people that can take a really nice picture or make a video that looks really good. But there was a disconnect there for a lot of businesses. So like I would see businesses that would hire people and they would get a video done, but the video didn't really have a goal in mind. So it wouldn't really perform well. It wouldn't really achieve what the company or business was really looking for. So I found that and I saw that and I was like, hey, I really should look into this, see where is that disconnect? How can I bridge that gap between being a filmmaker and achieving goals? So more of a marketer. So that's where I got into the marketing aspect of it, looking into what video marketing is, which is a very, very new term. It's only been around the last 3-4 years. It's kind of an exploding field right now. And that's kind of what I do now. I educate businesses on how they can use video within their marketing, branding, their sales processes. And then I carry different videos out for people. We do campaigns, and that's basically where I'm at right now.
This is this is intriguing to me to the extent that I have certainly lived through the sort of explosion, not only of the internet, but of video content, right? Because it was, I'm going to display my age and my ignorance. I remember when email first started, And we're like, oh my goodness, you mean I don't have to write a letter and send it by snail mail anymore? I can, and then it was instant messaging. And it was crude. I don't mean the language.
Mm-hmm.
It was like building with sticks and stones,
Right.
and as it progressed, even at that point in time, I never would have imagined that I would have one of these, and that I would have social media or anything else, and that these ads would pop up, and interesting videos, or I'd search for something, and all of a sudden all of this stuff that I think, oh, this is interesting content,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would stop and watch it for a while, and so I think I'm answering all my own questions about why video marketing. Right? We started out with something that was certainly drastically different from what we have now. And now it's incredibly convenient, right? It follows us around everywhere unless we put our phone down or shut it off.
Yep.
It's every time we log onto the computer. But that's the inundation, right? It's like being in the middle of Times Square, where there's like a massive TV screen everywhere, advertising something at you.
Right.
So that is inundation, right? I mean, I can't even look. I've stood in Times Square. I can't even look in every place all at once, and I don't even want to.
Yeah.
But describe to us a little bit more about what this, from your perspective, I've given you mine, from your perspective, what is this migration looked like towards video marketing, and how does this fit in 2020, and why is this a good idea?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Video marketing's exploded in the last 10 years due to the rise of YouTube. That is, I mean, that's one of the major platforms. You basically had people, marketers, smart people, that realized that video is an incredibly powerful medium. I would wager it's the most powerful medium. And they were running tests, and they were seeing, open rates in emails, in terms of also people retaining information. It's entertaining. And when people started noticing how powerful a video could be, everything started prioritizing that. So, commercials, obviously, they've been around for a long time. Infomercials have been very instrumental in sales, and actually what we now know of as like reviews on YouTube, they're actually infomercials, right? So yeah, I do apologize, Steve. Am I answering the question correctly?
I think so. What I was trying to get at is this migrate. Oh, like, I agree with you. I believe that video is powerful, right? Obviously, I grew up in an age and time where we were accustomed to the telephone.
Yes.
It was the kind that had wires attached to them.
Right.
Right. And so if there was somebody that was far enough away, it was pretty incredible to be able to connect to them through the phone, even if it was like what we called long distance and paid fortunes to talk to people.
Right.
How that has changed today, I realize the power in it, because my grandkids live a half hour away, and I can FaceTime them and look at them, which is completely different than talking on a phone. So I get the power, I get the impact of it.
Right.
But when somebody says, you know what, I've had a business for 25 years, and I have gained all of the growth of my business on word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Why does that person want to consider video marketing?
Because you have a new generation that is exposed to a different way of buying. So a lot of kids growing up today, in their teens or 20s, before you buy something, you usually research that product. people don't really want to talk to salespeople as much anymore. People like to do their own research because everything's freely available. It's all on your device, on your mobile device, on your desktop. You search it, you find out the information, and a video is a really great way to convince and convert somebody that they should be buying your product or service. So when a business kind of says, "Hey, I've done really well with word of mouth," that's great, but there's an incoming generation that is not used to that way of buying. So if you want to expand, you better start catering to those people, because if you don't cater, to your buyer, they're just going to go somewhere else. They're going to go to somebody that does cater to that. People want to build a relationship with the company that they're buying from. They like to support somebody that they know. People buy from people they know, like, and trust, and video allows you to do that. If you want to expand your business past the word of mouth stages that you've gotten it to, becoming a content creator, becoming an entertainer to a certain extent, it's so crucial.
That answered my question perfectly. So I had an idea that's where you were going, but
right.
I'm part of the boomer generation. Eventually, we won't be the consumers that we've been, and there are all these generations of people behind us who are coming into their prime earning years, and they're going to be the consumers that are spending. And I think you really hit the nail on the head, is that they're accustomed to doing things in a different way.
Yes.
And that if you have a business, that you're okay that your consumer base dries up as they get older and pass away, or maybe that's fine. But if that's not the case, then it's adapt or die.
Yes,
right,
for sure.
So that perfectly answers the question. So so we were headed down this road anyway, but then along comes a global pandemic, right? COVID comes along. And how has that slowed, enhanced, sped up the whole concept of video marketing?
Right. This is something that's kind of funny because, people are all rushing right now to go virtual. When everything hit, they're like, "Oh man, we can't do business as we usually used to."
Yeah, I am no exception to that rule.
Right.
I had to as well.
Yeah, and you see businesses that already had this process kind of laid out, and they were already in the midst of that change. If, for example, virtual meetings, just their informational videos that they had on their websites, they kind of set up a automated buyer's journey via video. They had a video library. Those companies, they're not nearly as stressed as companies who haven't even thought of this. So now everybody is just rushing to get this process streamlined in terms of video. So it's drastically, the demand for cameras, the demand for lights. I know we were speaking, a little while back, how difficult it was for you to even source lights and things like that, because everybody's, you couldn't, they were all sold out.
Yep.
So, it especially now in 2020, it is crucial for you to start communicating with your buyers, your clients, virtually and through video, because I guess it's the most powerful medium, right?
So I totally agree with you. And, just as you're talking, I'm thinking, you're talking about me, not specifically, but I was behind the curve. Well,
right.
Because honestly, I didn't know there would be a global pandemic. I didn't know we would have to change the way that we were going to do business. There were already people clearly headed in that direction. And then the pandemic comes and, all of a sudden their business explodes because they were already set up and ready to go.
Right.
I think I heard the statistic that in the month, I think it was in the month of March. No, because the pandemic hit towards the end of the March. Anyway, I think it was in the first 3 weeks of the global pandemic that Zoom subscribers increased by 15,000%.
They won. They won
Right.
essentially, right? Yeah.
Right. Clearly, they were already well positioned, and with a few glitches, which they've worked out. They were all set to go.
Yeah.
So now we go through, and this is one thing I'm kind of dying to address, because there's lots of people in business today talking about. I think the term they've kind of coined is Zoom fatigue.
Okay.
Right. So now we're all changing our businesses. We want to do video marketing. And yet people are often now stuck in meetings. They're work from home. I'm work from home right now. A lot of people are work from home, and they're on meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting. I know those are meetings. It's not advertising. So I don't want to lump it into the same category.
Right.
But so I decide then I want to do a video.
Mm-hmm.
How long of a video should I be doing that's going to keep people's attention and make it fun and interesting for the people watching?
Right. That is the most common question that I get asked, is how long should a video be? And that is entirely dependent on the kind of video that you want to make. There's, different videos are like different tools in your toolbox. It depends on the result you want. You have, your quick 6-second pre-roll videos that you have on YouTube. You have your traditional like 30-second commercials. You have testimonials. You have brand overviews. Then you have your sales videos. And that is entirely dependent. You really got to think about what you want to accomplish. You got to start it with what you want to accomplish and then work backwards from that. Traditionally, like a lot of people are kind of caught in this false notion that a video needs to be short. People think that, people don't have attention spans anymore, so we need to just like get it in, get it out. Hopefully they remember us. But that's actually so wrong, because when you look at YouTube, constantly the top trending videos are in the 14 to 16 minute range. That also doesn't mean that's the ideal number, but it's people don't have a short attention span. It's that they have an overabundance of options, basically. So everybody's vying for their attention. People are fighting for your attention. So if you produce something that is relevant and contextual, it can be as long as you need it to. The longer, the better, as long as it's contextual to what that person is looking for. Because the longer you can go, the more transfer of information you can have, which basically leads up to a better vetted buyer, a more informed buyer. So yeah, there's no really easy answer. It's as long as it should be. Yeah.
Awesome. That does answer the question, I think.
Kind of, right? Yeah, because
we get on here and we yak for half an hour, 45 minutes. We've had a couple that got close to an hour. I can go out on YouTube or on our Facebook page and see how many views we have, and it's surprising. Like if people are interested, they'll watch it. I mean, they'll sit down in front of an hour and a half or 2-hour movie. If it isn't interesting, they shut it off in the first 3 minutes, I would imagine. But
it's false when people say that people have a short attention span when you have over 150 Americans that are subscribed to Netflix, binge watching shows. Right. That doesn't exist. It's right. That what they're watching, the content that they're consuming, is relevant to them. It's right. Exciting for them. Yep. They'll sit there for 3 hours and listen to a podcast if that's what they're into.
Yeah, so, absolutely. Yeah. So we have a question from the live audience. It says, does Rob actually produce the content for the client? And does he write the script?
Yeah, great question. Yes, so we do that, but it does depend on what the video is, what sort of script we need. So usually what we do is we work with the client to kind of come up with the script, what kind of fits. Again, it depends on the result that you want. Sometimes we do hire a copywriter or a script writer to actually write the script for us once we kind of know the goal and the points that we want. But yeah, we at least look over your script So we'll give you an honest answer. Like if you say, hey, I have a script for this, I want to shoot this video, we'll at least take the script, look it over, and say, okay, is this the result that you want? Is this the best way of wording this? And we'll work with you on that. Or we can write it with you. Yeah.
I would think probably maybe this is helpful to answer that question for the person that's asking it. Because I've often on our webcast used the example that I am, I'm not sure what the term is that I can use. In some things, I am conceptually challenged. Right. So I often use the example of, you get this little tiny swatch from Home Depot or wherever you buy paint, right? And you hold it up against the wall, and I go, I don't know what that wall will look like from that tiny little thing. But some people can be standing in the store and looking over the sea of color and go, it's that one, right? And they know ahead of time what it's going to look like.
Right.
My mother-in-law is a painter. She's an artist. And she sits there and stares at a blank canvas and can see what it's going to look like and then just fills it in.
Right.
I can't do that. Right. I can do that with some things, but I can't do it with that. So marketing is probably the farthest thing from my area of expertise. I don't have a problem talking, and I obviously don't have a problem sitting in front of a camera. I'm very comfortable with that. But
of course,
if I'm going to hire you, or someone is going to hire someone like you to do this, what would your process be? If I called you up and said, look, I think you're right, I should use this medium, but I have no idea what I'm going to do. What would the process be you would take me through?
Okay, so we would have a consultation and where we would kind of chat about where you personally feel your business is lacking. Is there something that you'd want to automate more? Would you like to inform your clients, your buyers? Are you finding that people are coming in and they're like really confused about something? Or are you getting a lot of attraction on your website and you're getting the clicks and everything, but it's not converting. People aren't actually buying. So we look at kind of the problems, maybe not problems, but the lacking areas that you feel and that you can kind of support also numbers wise. And then we would flush an idea out that way. So we would say, okay, we need more clicks on your website. So we need something more of an exposure video to kind of get people interested, to generate a little bit of a buzz. We would figure out from then what sort of strategy we want to do and how we would want to implement that. We'd figure out, do we want this video featured in an ad campaign on Facebook, in LinkedIn? Does this video need to be put out in an email blast? Because videos are a great way of getting your open rates much higher in email. So we'd figure out the implementation. We'd write the script, give you a treatment, and then we'd execute the strategy, basically.
Excellent. We have another question from the audience, from the live audience, and it says, can you use animation? Do you use animation?
So I've only done that once, and I've hired out for that. Okay. That is not something that I specialize in. I don't claim to. Very rough, like little storyboard thing. So that's the sort of animation we do. Primarily what we're doing is we're filming. We're doing the actual shooting. We're doing the script writing, whether that's an interview or, some sort of a testimonial video or a commercial. That's kind of where we shine.
Okay. So I happen to have, I used this earlier, I happen to have an iPhone. And to be honest, I use it for taking photos and video a whole lot more than I actually anticipated doing. And so I have the ability to do a reasonable quality video. Right. I mean, you can figure out how to hook up a mic to it.
Oh, yeah.
There's a variety of different things you can do. So if I'm a consumer out there and I'm saying, you know what, I I'm not sure that I have the money that I want to spend to hire somebody to do this. With the technology that most of us have available today, um, is this something that we can do?
Yes, completely. And I highly encourage it. However, it does depend on what sort of video you want to make. There's areas where making your own video is a great idea, and that's what I encourage all my clients to do. There's other areas where it's probably best to at least wait until you can hire a professional, such as a brand overview, like a company overview video. You know, video has a lot of perceived value to it. And if it doesn't look good, it might not transfer over well. But if it's a personalized thing, like, hey, I'm sending out a message to a client, video is the way to go. And there's, with your iPhone, there's a bunch of different ways that you can make a video really quickly, really easily. For example, there's one app called Teleprompter Premium. It's available for Android and iOS, and it allows you to upload your script in your phone, and it'll scroll the actual text up the phone as you're speaking. So you can just be looking right at the phone, reciting your script while the camera's recording you, and then you could just send that to your client. So if you want to touch base about something, you pull your phone out, you make a quick video. People have this weird notion that it's harder to do a video than it is to write an email. But when you're really trying to convey a more complex subject, it's actually easier to look at somebody speaking, like look at an actual video, than it is to read an email, write an email, and then hope that that person on the other end understands exactly what you were trying to convey. So, yeah, an iPhone, a cell phone, film has been democratized. Everybody has access now to it. So going back, the one thing is choosing your video. That's something you need to be careful about what you're going to make.
Do you want to expand on that a bit?
Yeah. So if you're very tech savvy, and you really want to delve into it, you can make awesome little commercials for your video, awesome little skits, things like that. Throw that out on Instagram. But unless you really know what you're doing, those tend to not transfer as well if they're poorly done. But on the other hand, Instagram, if your company has an Instagram and you want to just get something out there for video wise, you pull out your phone, you take a video, keep it under 60 seconds if you want that, or actually you can go longer if you want to go on Instagram TV. But you pull out
it's TikTok that reduces you to 60 seconds.
Right. Yeah. TikTok is huge right now.
At least so I've heard of.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, an iPhone, an Android, perfect place. Sorry, I just saw a question pop up. What was the app again? Teleprompter Premium. It's like $20, $21, available for Android and iPhone, in the App Store. And it's a really easy to use program. It allows you to upload everything, your script, and it just rolls the script along as you're filming your little video. Yeah.
Excellent.
It's a really helpful tool.
Yeah. So one of the other questions I have is if somebody's got a reasonably good phone and they want to start into this from a technical aspect, what are the things, if somebody's never done this before, what are some of the things that you would share with them so that they can do something that's reasonable quality?
Right. So if you're trying to do, an iPhone video to send out to your clients, there's some really basic things that you can do to make it look better, make it look as good as possible. For example, not having your light source, your main light source, behind you. That's on a technical level. You want your skin to be exposed. You don't want to be completely overexposed and just like glowing, but you want your skin to look good. You don't want your light source behind you too much. You don't want it to look too harsh, and you want to speak clearly into the phone. Have it not too far away from you so that the mic isn't picking up the echo, the reverberation. And then
what about editing?
In terms of editing, this is where it can get a little difficult for people that haven't really delved into this. So right on your phone, most phones do have an editing app for you. For example, iPhones have iMovie for your iPhone, and that is a program that is incredibly useful. But unless you're willing to devote a little bit more time, I would actually say try to get it all done in one take if you're making a video. Try to get everything done smoothly in one take. Run through it 10 times and just get a good flow going. Editing is something you can spend a lot of time and frustration on. But that's somewhere where I do come in. I do help our clients with that personally on a one-on-one level, where I kind of teach them a couple of things about editing, some basic stuff, because it's not really about, I don't just want to be there to film. I want to help people learn how to make their own content where it's appropriate. So yeah.
So once we've pulled out our iPhone or whatever that we're going to do this on, and, we've rehearsed it, and we've, sat in front of it and learned how to stare at the camera and say what we want to say. And, and then we get that. So at that point in time, kind of two questions. How do I get it out where my potential audience is actually going to see it?
Mm-hmm.
And then as a follow-up to that, how do I know that people are actually seeing it? How do I measure that success rate?
Right. So that is a pretty extensive question, because it really depends where your audience lives. So you need to be able to gauge where are my buyers? Where are my clients? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Instagram? Are they on Facebook, YouTube? You got to kind of gauge where your demographic, your clients are, so that you can then serve that video to them. Now, it also depends on whether you're doing it in an actual campaign or if you're just wanting to upload it for your organic reach. If it's Facebook, you film the video and you can directly upload it into Facebook. If it's YouTube, you upload it directly to YouTube. Now, it gets really complicated when you start wanting to do ad campaigns with it, to start serving it to people.
How do I measure it? Right?
How do you measure it?
Now I've put this video out.
Right.
I've signed up for I don't know, Vimeo or YouTube or whatever, and I put this thing out here. I've figured out how to stick a link in an email, and I've sent it out to whoever.
Right.
How do I measure that success? How do I know that this even works? And better yet, if I do it enough times, how do I then focus on what does work, so I'm not spinning my wheels and wasting my time and energy?
Right. So different platforms have different metrics that are available for you. Your kind of watch through rate is a really good indicator in terms of like body language. It's your digital body language. So if you have people that are watching the video 70% of the way through, in your back end, you should be able to check all of this. You should have, I use Wistia as my main platform when I work with clients, because the metrics that you get with that are just incredible. I can see who opened it up. Well, not who exactly, but I can see where that person was from, how long they stayed on the video, and I can gauge my video's success based on that. And so if you're creating a video that is about 10 minutes long and you have massive amounts of drop-offs after a minute, you're doing something wrong. That's probably not the right content.
Probably.
Right. Studies are showing that basically, say you have a 14-minute video, if you hold somebody's attention for about 6 minutes, they usually hold out for the majority of the rest of the video. So that first 6-minute mark is actually a very important time frame for you to hold somebody's attention. So that's how you kind of check your video success. And there's other way of doing this as well. Call to actions on videos. So a lot of videos, if say you're using Wistia, Wistia will give you the option. Wistia is a video platform, by the way. Wistia will give you the option to have a call to action button where you can link people to an external page. So you set up a landing page somewhere else on your website, and from your video, you can lead people from there to that landing page that you want them to see. And you can actually track that. You can see how many people not only watched your video, but how many people actually acted on the call to action leading to your landing and converting or not.
I gotta display some more of my ignorance again.
No problem. I do apologize if I'm going a little.
No. I understand what you're saying. I just as a boomer, I got two pieces of my brain that are very conflicted at the moment, right? Because I'm like, well, This is very exciting because it's not guesswork, right?
Yes.
When I started my business almost 30 years ago, you would go put a print ad together, go to a printer, get 10,000 pieces all printed, and then you would have unaddressed mail that would go out, and it was like spray and pray. Right? Yeah. You had absolutely no idea whether they actually ended up in people's mailboxes or if they would ever do anything with it. Yeah. So looking at that from my perspective now, it's like, okay, where is my target audience? How do I reach my target audience? And then over time, how do I effectively communicate value to my target audience, which is absolutely measurable?
Right.
So that part is wonderful. The rest just seems creepy to me. But
the wonderful thing,
because I'm a boomer.
Yeah. The beautiful thing about it is you really get to track your metrics. You get to see your ROI basically on it. You're like, how much have I invested? What actually ended up happening from this? You can track individuals, customers back to an opened email that you sent a video in. You can see that person, say you're looking for, you're chatting somebody up to get them to buy a service or a product, whatever. If you make a custom personalized quick video, there's one really good plugin extension for Chrome. It's called Soapbox by Wistia, and it's a free plugin that allows you to make desktop videos and screen share. Takes not a lot of time at all to get used to it. And with that, you get your metrics. So let's say you make a little video, you send it out in an email, you see that person opened it up, how many times they opened it up to, because that's a funny thing. You see that a video that you made that you were like, oh, this person's not really going to care. Guess what? They opened it 10 times and they showed the rest of the office. And now you know that when that person has watched that video, how many times, at what percentage, that's a pretty hot buyer. Like that's, that they're ready to buy something. You really need to approach that person. You can gauge somebody's interest on it. It's a great tool to have.
The part that I think I really enjoy about this, not just our conversation, although I do enjoy it, is awesome. about the concept is that what I find is that in days gone by, you go walk to a physical store that you think sells, something that you might want to have. And you wander in, you look around, try to find where this thing is. If you find it, you then go over and you touch it and you stare at the box, right? Because you have nothing else to go by. Yeah. And all of that has changed now. So if I want to know about something, I could be having my 6 a.m. coffee and sit down to my laptop and pull up Google or whatever, and all of a sudden not only does it tell me all the different versions of this thing, but it tells me what it does, it tells me how long the warranty is, it tells me almost and then if I say, well, I'm not sure I will know how to operate that, oh well, then you YouTube that and then somebody's demonstrating how to operate it. So exactly. There's so much more information available today. So I think that the marketing is probably extremely effective, especially during COVID, because we're kind of confined to wherever, right? And we're doing a lot more shopping online and everything else. So, so I think I get this, right? I think I agree. I think this is the future. Go ahead.
Just given the fact that you're doing a podcast, that you're producing this, I'm
guilty.
pretty sure you get it on some level, Steve.
Yeah.
It's what you're doing right now is you're offering free, helpful content.
Right.
You're not selling anybody on anything. Like, you're not really. I mean, people, by way of discovering this, they tend to look at you a little better, and everybody's like, oh, hey, I know that Steve guy, like, personally, even if they've never met you. Hey, that Steve guy, that's like, I know Oprah, basically, right? So on some level you get it, but yeah.
So here's what unless we have any more questions from the live audience, here's the last question that I have is on contemplating doing. I've watched this webcast. I realize that there is a tremendous validity to this. I possess some technology that I actually could do this myself, because you've actually told us how to do that. How do I decide whether it's, like, monetary factor aside, how do I decide what is the criteria if I'm watching this between, oh, I can do this myself, or I should do this myself, or I better get in touch with Rob and do this with him? How do you judge that? Because, I'm an ignorant consumer, and now I've been, you've said, oh, you need an iPhone. I got an iPhone.
Right.
Oh, I need to have a voice. Well, I can talk. Right. How do I know where that line is where I should call you and hire you to do this?
Right. Well, I'm always available to talk to people. So that's something that I can definitely help people decide on. That's a really tough question, Steve. You really stumped me on that. I gotta be honest with you, because that is a really difficult thing to gauge.
If money's the factor, right? If you say, oh, you know what, I just started this business last week, and I have a marketing budget of $50 a month. Mm-hmm. Okay, that limits my options,
right?
And, so maybe that one's an easier one. Mm-hmm. But if you were asking me that, I would tell you, this is my answer. I would say the value add is marketing is not my expertise, right? So I'll use myself as an example, because I don't mind poking a little fun at myself.
Of course.
Right? I've done, I don't know, maybe 15 webcasts so far this year. I've never done a webcast before. So, you start out with, oh, what software should I use? Oh, that one turned out disastrous. Oh my goodness, my internet wasn't sufficient. I upgraded my internet. I tried another piece of software. That didn't actually do what I was hoping to, right? So you muddle your way through it. I'm not afraid of how I come across, because it's me and I'm sincere. So that's perfectly fine. I didn't mind navigating my way through that. But if that was something that I would have been if it was very important that right from the word go, this was going to come across as totally professional, whatever that means to somebody, then I would call you and say, hey, how do I do this? And I'm willing to pay you for your expertise.
Right.
But is the best way to figure that out to actually contact you and have you give objective advice towards that?
I would like to think so. There's plenty of very resourceful people. I mean, with everything online, you can do a lot of research yourself. But like you said, the value added is that I'm there on both sides in terms of the marketing and the video. So the technical aspects of it, and then the strategy and implementation of it, that's all in my wheelhouse. So I can gauge pretty quickly what you want to do, what you need to do, and if you're capable of doing that. And I'm more than happy to give people an honest answer. I have a client right now that we've taught to kind of start making his own content. even though we've been working with him on like for 4 years now, creating his thought leadership content. We started getting him on board with his own kind of side project because he's capable. We taught him how to do it, and now he's putting out his own stuff as well. So, yeah.
Okay. You know what? I think that's about as honest an answer as you can get. The follow-up to that is not a question, it's a comment. I look back on what we've done over the last, whatever, 15 or so webcasts, and I am intensely grateful that the first 5 or 6 of them did not get recorded and end up on the internet.
Yep.
Right. It's just for me, it's a fun learning process.
Of course.
We have one more comment from the live audience. They're saying your sound is excellent. Is there a mic that you would recommend for podcasting?
Yes, definitely. It depends on, obviously budget is a factor, but the ultimate all-time podcasting microphone is the Shure SM7B. So yeah, that is the all-time favorite podcasting radio host. If anybody who's doing big stuff in radio and podcasting, that is the golden standard right there. Yeah.
Maybe I should have consulted you ahead of time. I looked at a bunch of them. I hired this because I I bought this because I thought it looked cool.
The blue, yeah, it does, and it sounds great, but it does also depend on placement, right?
No, I'm just kidding. I did do.
Well, I'm always here, Steve. So
I did do a little bit of homework.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, you know what? This has been intensely fun. It's been educational. Like I said, it's an area that is far, far out of my area of expertise. But this is now, right? This is 2020. This is global pandemic, great stuff, because this is the opportunity for people to do things that they maybe never even thought of before, right? I've been in business almost 30 years. Well, I know I couldn't have done it 30 years ago, but what made me think at the beginning of a global pandemic, I think I'll do some webcasts.
Yep.
And we're having so much fun with it. And the feedback that we're getting from people is so positive, because that's what we're doing, is where we're literally encouraging people to shop local.
Right.
We're trying to build business in the community. We're trying to add value to the business world and to the community by promoting local business. But I realized that, we're getting live comments from somebody in Ottawa, and I've had people on from other countries, which kind of blows me away, right? This is a global community. I haven't had anybody from the other side of the world yet, because it's the middle of the night there, but
Yep. But it's a fun thing for you to do, right? Like, you seem like you have a blast doing it, and it helps a lot of people. It seems educational for everyone. I'm really happy that I could be a part of this.
Well, listen, Rob, I'm so grateful that you took time for us tonight to do this and to share your expertise. We're getting comments from the live audience. Appreciate you sharing your thoughts.
I really,
this is something that is honestly so foreign to so many people, and this is where opportunities lie for business. And I think that if we're still kind of stuck back somewhere else in our marketing thoughts, we're going to miss out on opportunities, because not only is this a great medium for promoting your business, it's a great medium for promoting charities, it's a great business for it's a great opportunity for communication. It's just so this is the world, and it's not going to go away. This is the way of the future. So we're glad that you have the expertise, and that we have the opportunity to put you front and center, so that if people have questions, they're going to get in touch with you. We're going to put it on our Facebook page at Border City Financial and on our website at bordercityfinancial.com. So they'll be able to view it. We'll include your contact information in case anybody wants to reach you.
Perfect. Awesome.
Or you can just spew it off the top of your head, and hopefully people will remember it.
I'll type it into the comments really quickly.
Perfect.
My email.
While you're doing that, I just want to thank everybody for attending tonight. It's great to have a live audience, and obviously we're having fun doing this. So we're grateful that you took time out of your day to join us. Hopefully the information and content was not only fun and interesting, but useful to you. That is our objective. So so we certainly want to thank you for taking your time. So Rob, thank you so much for spending this gorgeous night with us and taking a little bit of time to talk about what you do and share your expertise with us. Thank you very much. And thank you to all of you. We will see you next Thursday at 6:30 p.m. and have a great night.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Steve.
All right. Good night.